Alright guys, so today we're playing Fallout 76 in 2025. Believe it or not, it's now been 7 years since this game was released back in 2018, and a lot has changed for this game over that period of time. When this game launched, it was completely different to how it is now, and it is actually a lot better now than it was back in the day, when you didn't have any voiced NPCs, so the world just felt empty and lifeless and felt like it was without a purpose, like there was no reason to even bother exploring the world with nothing in it, and there really was just an overall lack of content. But over time, they added a lot of content in, they added the voiced NPCs that brought a lot of flavor and charm to the game that was not there before, and now I can say that the game is worth playing if you're someone who loves Fallout, like especially if you loved Fallout 4, if you loved the gameplay and exploration of that game and you want more Fallout, this is your best option. I mean, there's obviously Fallout 3 in New Vegas, but the gameplay of 76 is exactly the same as Fallout 4's and plays very similar with a few minor differences because it is an online-only game. So, for example, the VATS doesn't actually freeze the game or pause the game. It's kind of like in real time that you're doing the VATS. So that takes a lot of getting used to, and obviously the way that you get supplies and you gather things, it is, since it's an online game, it's a lot more limited than what you can do in a single-player game in terms of just how easy it is to access the loot and get the things that you want to get. Because there's a lot of RNG involved in the loot drops for the enemies and everything else. And you also have the cosmetic shop and the Atom. Yeah, that, not a big fan of that. Obviously, they had to monetize the game, so I understand why it is the way it is. I'd rather just play Fallout 4 when it's all said and done. Even doing another playthrough, I've played like 14 or 15 different playthroughs of the game over the years, but I would rather just do another playthrough and find some new mods that I maybe didn't play before than actually like get deep into 76. I recently created a brand new character to kind of re-experience the game, and I will say it's a lot different. It feels a lot better, especially with that story element there that did not exist in 2018, 2019. It's funny though, because back then everyone was dogging on this game and talking about how great Red Dead Redemption 2 was. And now Red Dead Online, the multiplayer mode for Red Dead Redemption 2 is pretty much dead. Like there's still people playing online, but there really isn't anything going for it. They stopped updating the game many years ago at this point. I think it was like 2020 or 2021. Didn't really have that long of a life cycle, but they kept updating GTA 5 during that time, and GTA 5 kept getting content. So I just think it's funny, though, looking back, how this game was the laughingstock of the gaming industry in 2018, and now it's thriving and is doing better than ever. Still getting content, still getting expansions. So if you want to like sink time into a game that is still supported and still gets new stuff every now and then Fallout 76 is a good option for you, especially as a Fallout fan. If you're just an overall like FPS fan, the gameplay is very clunky. Like even Fallout 4 in 2015, the gameplay felt quite dated as much as it was a step up over Fallout 3 in New Vegas. Especially now in 2025, you could definitely feel the outdated gameplay of this game. And it's also not a PvP game. So if you're a PvP person, this is also not the game for you because it was really meant to be almost exclusively PvE. So, just co-op with friends. So if you have friends to play with, if you're a huge Fallout fan, 76 is perfect, with the caveat that all of your friends have to be playing on the same platform because this game never implemented crossplay and likely never will. So that means that if you're on PC and your friends on Xbox or PlayStation or both, and you have a group of people that are all on different platforms, then you're going to have to find another game to play because Fallout 76 is locked. It is not crossplay compatible. So PC can only play with PC, Xbox can only play with Xbox, PlayStation can only play with PlayStation. So that's another thing that you need to know before you really dive into this game, because that's something that's very important, especially this day and age, because back in 2018, crossplay really wasn't a thing at all. So no one really thought twice about it, like, oh, it doesn't have... But now, since it's been 7 years, the gaming landscape is entirely different. Any successful live service game in 2025 needs a crossplay feature. And 76 gets away with it because they were established for a number of years now. And it is Fallout. It's a game in the Fallout series, and it's the latest game in that series, and likely will be for the next decade plus. It'll probably be like 2036, 2037 when we get Fallout 5, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, I'm being 100% serious when I say that. So, I would say, yeah, for the most hardcore, die-hard Fallout fan, whether you just recently got into the series from the TV show, which is a really good show, or you're just, you played Fallout 4, never gave 76 a chance, then if you fall into either of those categories, then this game is absolutely worth playing in 2025. And if you're a returning player that did play the game back in 2018 and just got bored by it, I think you'll be a lot more into it now with everything they've added over the years. Any way you slice it, it's a pretty good option. And I would even say for someone that doesn't have friends to play with and just wants to play solo, it's a pretty decent Fallout experience in its own right, with its own quests and story, which is, in my opinion, not even close to being on par with the other games in the franchise, but it's still pretty decent, and it kind of it scratches that Fallout itch that you may be having after all these years since Fallout 4. So as much as this game isn't really for me, I can never really find the time or be willing to find the time to commit a lot of hours into this game. I can see how other people might be into it. I mean, the whole crafting and base building thing, I'd rather just download settlement mods in Fallout 4 and do it that way, because I just find that a lot more interesting, compelling, a lot less limiting too, because of the restrictions that 76 puts into place. And also mods. They promised mod support for 76 back in 2018, and to this day has still never happened. So that definitely is a bummer, because I just talked about DayZ the other day. That's a co-op. Well, it could be PvP also, but it also co-op. You can play with your friends in this big open world. And while it's not really the same type of game as 76, 76 is not a survival game at all. And again, it has no PvP elements, really. It used to have a Battle Royale mode years ago, but they got rid of that a while ago, like I'd say 2020, 2021. What was it called? Nuclear Winter. But I'm mentioning DayZ because that's a game that really shows Fallout 76's potential, because DayZ has so much modded content, and you could just download it straight off the Steam Workshop and have a bunch of custom servers and custom things going on. 76 does not have any of that, and I think if they did, the game would be on a whole nother level right now and would have even more players than it does right now. But you don't have any problem finding games regardless of which platform you're on. It's pretty easy because it still is a pretty popular game despite how old it is, and I would recommend it for most people.